What's stopping you right now? Be honest. Is it time? Is it fear? Is it your circumstances? Or is it the excuses you keep repeating to yourself until they sound like the truth? Because let me tell you this, excuses are nothing but lies you tell yourself to stay comfortable. And comfort never created greatness. You don't need another excuse. You need results. What's the first thing people do when life hits them hard? They point fingers. They blame the system, they blame their family, they blame luck, they even blame God. But here's the raw truth. Blame is nothing but a shield for the weak. It feels safe, it feels justified. But every time you blame, you hand over your power. You're saying, I'm not in control. I'm not responsible. Someone else decides my future. And that's a dangerous lie. Because the moment you hand over responsibility, you chain yourself to mediocrity. You trap yourself in the same cycle, day after day, waiting for circumstances to change instead of changing yourself. You can't rewrite your story until you admit this one thing: your life is in your hands and no one else's. Think about it. The greatest achievers in history didn't come from perfect families, unlimited money, or flawless environments. Many of them came from broken homes, empty pockets, and overwhelming odds. The difference, they refused to blame. They refused to give power to excuses. They said, yes, I was born here. Yes, I went through this. But that doesn't define me. That's what it means to own your life. It's not about what you were given. It's about what you choose to do with it. Every day you have two choices: make excuses or make progress. And the brutal reality is that excuses will keep you stuck in the same place for years, while responsibility will open doors you never even thought existed. Blame is seductive because it feels like relief. It tells you it's not your fault. You didn't succeed because the world is unfair. And yes, the world can be unfair. Life can be brutal. But let me ask you, what does blame give you in return? Does it pay your bills? Does it build your dreams? Does it heal your heart? No. It only steals your energy. It drains your confidence. It convinces you that you're powerless when, in fact, you're not. Responsibility, on the other hand, feels heavy at first. It forces you to look in the mirror. It forces you to admit that you made mistakes, that you procrastinated, that you settled for less than you deserved. That's not easy. But that's the exact moment your transformation begins. Because once you accept that you created your current reality, you also realize that you can create a new one. Every excuse you make is a brick in the wall between you and your future. You want freedom. Tear down the wall. You want success. Stop building prisons with your words. Blaming the traffic for being late. That's an excuse. Blaming your parents for not supporting you. That's an excuse. Blaming your past for holding you back. That's an excuse. Every one of them builds the cage you live in. And the longer you hide behind them, the smaller your life becomes. The most dangerous thing about excuses is that they disguise themselves as truth. They sound reasonable. They sound logical. And they convince you to stay where you are. But the truth doesn't care about your excuses. The truth is simple. If you want something, you either find a way or you don't. Imagine your life 10 years from now if you keep making excuses. The same job you hate, the same body you're not proud of, the same dreams collecting dust in the back of your mind. Now imagine your life 10 years from now if you take ownership today. You're healthier, wealthier, stronger, more confident. The difference isn't luck. The difference is choice. You chose responsibility instead of blame. You chose action instead of excuses. And here's the thing. You already know which version of your life you want. The vision is clear. What's missing is the decision. The decision to stop pointing fingers, to stop waiting, and to start owning every part of your life, the good and the bad. Because once you own it, you can change it. But you can't change what you refuse to own. Owning your life is not just about accepting responsibility for the past. It's about stepping into full control of your future. That means no more saying, "I'll start when the time is right." No more saying, "I can't because of my circumstances." You are not a victim of your past. You are not trapped by your environment. You are only trapped by the stories you keep repeating. Break the story, and you break the cycle. The day you stop blaming is the day you start building. The day you stop making excuses is the day you start producing results. And the world doesn't reward excuses. It only rewards results. That's the law of life. No matter where you start, no matter what you've been through, the moment you decide to own your life, you step into a level of freedom, focus, and power that excuses could never give you. Motivation is the spark, but discipline is the fire that keeps burning long after motivation dies out. Too many people rely on feeling inspired before they act, and that's why they never get anywhere. They wait for the perfect day, the perfect mood, the perfect energy, but life doesn't work that way. Motivation is unreliable. It comes when life is easy and disappears when life gets real. That's why the world is full of people who start strong and quit halfway. But discipline, that's a different story. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired. Discipline doesn't care if it's raining outside or if your heart is broken. Discipline says, "I made a promise to myself, and I will honor it no matter how I feel." That's where results come from. Not from bursts of excitement, but from the relentless commitment to show up day after day, even when you don't want to. The truth is, discipline builds identity. Motivation gives you a moment of excitement, but discipline shapes who you are. When you repeatedly do the hard things, when you keep showing up despite the excuses screaming in your head, you start to see yourself differently. You stop seeing yourself as weak or inconsistent. You see yourself as someone who finishes what they start. That shift in identity is more powerful than any motivational video, any pep talk, or any outside source of inspiration. Discipline is proof. It's proof to yourself that you are capable, that you are strong, that you are unshakable. And when you build that identity, nothing can stop you. Because once you trust yourself to follow through, you no longer rely on feelings. You rely on your standard. And that standard becomes unbreakable. Think about the greatest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the people you look up to. Do you think they're motivated every single day? Of course not. They have days when they're exhausted, when they feel uninspired, when the world feels heavy. But they still get up, they still train, they still build, they still work. Because their discipline is stronger than their emotions. They don't wait to feel good before they act. They act, and that action creates the feeling. That's the secret most people miss. You don't wait for motivation, you create momentum through discipline. And once the momentum kicks in, motivation shows up as a side effect, not as the foundation. That's why the disciplined always outperform the motivated. Discipline is also the ultimate form of self-respect. When you break promises to yourself, when you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," for the 10th time, you slowly destroy your confidence. Deep down, you know you're lying to yourself, and that eats away at your belief. But when you practice discipline, when you do the thing you said you'd do, Even if no one is watching, you build self-trust. You start believing in your own word again. And belief is everything. Without belief, you'll sabotage every opportunity. With belief, you'll chase opportunities that once felt impossible. Discipline isn't just about habits. It's about rewriting the relationship you have with yourself. It's about proving, every single day, that you can rely on you. Now here's where people misunderstand discipline. They think it's punishment. They think it's about forcing yourself into misery, about living without joy, about grinding endlessly without reward. That's not discipline, that's torture. True discipline is freedom. Freedom from procrastination. Freedom from regret. Freedom from the pain of knowing you could have done better but didn't. Discipline is the key that unlocks everything you want: health, wealth, growth, peace of mind. Without it, you're at the mercy of your feelings, tossed around by every distraction, every setback, every excuse. With it, you become unstoppable. Discipline doesn't make life harder. It makes life easier because it gives you control. It puts the power back in your hands. Every time you choose discipline over excuses, you cast a vote for the future you want. Wake up on time, that's a vote. Go to the gym even when you're tired, that's a vote. Work on your goals after a long day instead of scrolling endlessly on your phone. That's a vote. Those votes add up. And while motivation might get you started, discipline is the force that stacks those votes every single day until your results are undeniable. Because at the end of the day, no one asks if you were motivated. No one cares if you felt like it. They only see the outcome. They only see the body you built, the business you created, the life you designed. And all of that comes down to one thing: discipline. Excuses are easy. They roll off the tongue without effort, smooth and convincing, like little shields that protect us from the discomfort of action. But every excuse has one thing in common. It keeps you exactly where you are. Action, on the other hand, is hard. It demands energy. It demands courage. It demands that you step into uncertainty without knowing if you'll succeed. That's why most people live their entire lives wrapped in excuses. They would rather cling to safety than step into the unknown. But here's the brutal truth. Excuses will never move you an inch closer to your dreams. Only action has the power to transform your life. Every time you act, you create motion. Every time you move, no matter how small, you change the trajectory of your future. Progress isn't born out of perfect conditions. It's born out of imperfect actions taken consistently. Action is what separates dreamers from doers. Everybody dreams. Everybody talks about what they want, what they'll achieve someday. But very few people are willing to take the steps today. The difference between the life you imagine and the life you live lies in the actions you take in the present. Excuses will give you comfort in the moment, but they will rob you of your future. Action may feel uncomfortable right now, but it will gift you freedom later. Think about it. When you push yourself to act, even in small ways, you begin building a bridge between who you are and who you want to become. Without action, that bridge doesn't exist. And no amount of wishing, praying, or talking will make it appear. The beauty of action is that it doesn't require perfection. Too many people paralyze themselves because they think they need the perfect plan, the perfect resources, the perfect timing. But there is no such thing. The perfect moment will never arrive, and waiting for it is just another excuse in disguise. The winners are the ones who start with what they have, where they are. They make mistakes, they stumble, they fall, but they keep moving. Every mistake teaches them something new. Every stumble strengthens their resilience. Every fall prepares them for a stronger comeback. Action is messy, yes, but it's also magical. Because while excuses create nothing, action creates momentum, and momentum is the most powerful force in success. Once you move, even slowly, you gain clarity, strength, and direction. Excuses, on the other hand, drain your energy before you even begin. They trick you into believing that you're thinking rationally, that you're being realistic. But in reality, excuses are thieves. They steal your time, your opportunities, your confidence. They trap you in an endless loop of procrastination where nothing ever changes. The dangerous part is that excuses sound legitimate. I don't have enough time. I don't have the money. I don't know where to start. These all sound like valid reasons, but they're not. They're stories you've chosen to believe, so you don't have to face the discomfort of action. The truth is, time can be managed, money can be earned, knowledge can be gained. The real issue is not resources. It's your willingness to take action despite the lack of them. When you replace excuses with action, your entire perspective shifts. Suddenly, problems aren't dead ends. They're puzzles waiting to be solved. Challenges aren't reasons to stop. They're opportunities to grow. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start seeing yourself as a creator of possibilities. Each action you take builds confidence. Each step forward proves to yourself that you are capable, that you can handle more than you thought. And that confidence compounds. The more you act, the stronger you become. And the stronger you become, the less power excuses hold over you. Because once you've tasted progress, once you've seen even a glimpse of what action can create, excuses lose their flavor. They can't satisfy you anymore. Ask yourself this. What's one thing you've been putting off? One dream you've been talking about but not acting on? What excuse have you been hiding behind? Now imagine where you'd be right now if you had acted the first time you thought about it. Imagine the progress you could have made in 6 months, a year, 5 years. That's the cost of excuses. The opportunities you never seized, the growth you never experienced, the life you never lived. But here's the good news, you can change it right now. Action doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't care about your past. It doesn't demand perfection. It just requires that you move one step, then another, and another. Because the truth is, your dreams aren't waiting for your excuses. They're waiting for your action. Pressure is the birthplace of greatness. Without it, there is no growth, no strength, no transformation. Most people run from pressure because it feels uncomfortable. It feels heavy. It feels like too much to carry. But what they don't realize is that the very pressure they're avoiding is the same force that could shape them into something extraordinary. Diamonds aren't born in comfort. They're created under immense pressure and heat. Muscles don't grow by resting all the time. They grow when they're pushed beyond their limits, when they're torn and tested. Life works the same way. Every obstacle, every challenge, every moment you feel the weight of the world pressing on your shoulders. That is life's way of sculpting you, sharpening you, preparing you for something greater. When you avoid pressure, you stay small. You stay safe, but you also stay stuck. You might think you're protecting yourself, but really, you're protecting your weaknesses. Pressure exposes what you need to work on. It shows you where you lack discipline, where your mindset cracks, where your habits fail. That's not something to fear. It's something to embrace. Because once you see where you break, You also see where you can rebuild stronger. Without pressure, you'd never know what you're capable of. You'd never discover the resilience hidden inside you, the grit you didn't even realize you had, the fire that only comes alive when you're pushed to your limits. Comfort won't reveal that to you. Only pressure will. Think about the times in your life when you grew the most. Were they the easy times, when everything was smooth, predictable, and safe? Or were they the moments when everything seemed to fall apart, when you had to fight harder than you ever thought possible? Growth doesn't come in the calm. It comes in the storm. It's the late nights when you keep pushing even though you're exhausted. It's the rejections that force you to level up. It's the failures that make you re-strategize, refocus, and rise again. That is the gift of pressure. It doesn't feel like a gift in the moment. It feels like pain, struggle, and frustration. But in hindsight, you realize those were the exact moments that shaped you. Pressure molds you into someone you would have never become if life had stayed easy. The truth is, pressure is not your enemy. It's your training ground. Every great warrior, every successful entrepreneur, every world-class athlete had to endure pressure that would break the average person. They didn't succeed because life was easy for them. They succeeded because they didn't run from the weight. They carried it. They let it refine them, not define them. They understood that pressure wasn't there to destroy them. It was there to test their hunger. And if you think about it, every obstacle in your life is really a question. How bad do you want it? That's what pressure asks you. It asks if your dream is stronger than your excuses, if your commitment is stronger than your comfort, if your will is stronger than your pain. And only those who answer with action earn the reward. Most people misinterpret pressure as punishment. They think life is being unfair, that they're being targeted, that they're cursed with harder circumstances than others. But pressure isn't punishment. It's opportunity. Opportunity to sharpen your character. Opportunity to build resilience. Opportunity to prove to yourself and to the world that you are unbreakable. The very situations you complain about could be the same situations that elevate you if you change your perspective. Instead of saying, "Why me?" start asking, "What is this teaching me?" Instead of running from the weight, ask yourself, "How can I grow stronger under it?" The difference between those who rise and those who stay stuck is not the amount of pressure they face, but the way they respond to it. You have to rewire your relationship with pressure. Stop treating it as a signal to quit and start seeing it as a signal to level up. When life gets heavy, it means you're being stretched. When the obstacles get bigger, it means your capacity is expanding. When the challenges get tougher, it means you're being prepared for something greater. Pressure is proof that you're on the right path, that you're in the arena, that you're not playing small anymore. And if you embrace it instead of escaping it, you'll discover something incredible. Pressure doesn't just create diamonds. It creates leaders, warriors, legends. It creates people who are remembered not because life was easy for them, but because they faced the weight head on and turned it into strength. Noise is the silent killer of dreams. It doesn't crash into your life loudly. It doesn't announce itself with warning. It seeps in slowly, disguising itself as advice, as concern, as practicality. Noise is the endless chatter of people who don't understand your vision, the constant stream of negativity from those who gave up on their own goals long ago. It's the toxic voices that whisper, "You can't do this. Be realistic. Don't aim so high. And if you don't learn to cut out the noise, you'll start believing it. You'll start shrinking your dreams to fit their doubts. You'll start lowering your standards to match their fears. That's how dreams die. Not because you weren't capable, but because you listened to the wrong voices. Noise comes in many forms. Sometimes it's the friends who laugh at your ambition because they're too afraid to chase their own. Sometimes it's family who, without realizing, project their insecurities onto you. Sometimes it's society screaming what success is supposed to look like, convincing you that your path is invalid because it doesn't match the norm. And then there's the noise in your own head, the doubts, the comparisons, the self-sabotage. The truth is, if you let noise dominate your mind, it will paralyze you before you even take your first step. That's why cutting out the noise isn't optional, it's essential. You cannot hear your own voice if it's drowned out by the opinions of everyone else. The people who make the most noise are often the ones doing the least. Isn't it strange how those who haven't built anything are the quickest to tell you how impossible it is? How those who have settled for mediocrity are the loudest at mocking ambition? They're not laughing at you. They're trying to justify why they gave up. Because your courage exposes their comfort. Your hunger threatens their excuses. Your determination reminds them of what they abandoned. If you let their noise control you, you'll inherit their mediocrity. But if you block it out and stay focused, you'll prove them wrong simply by succeeding. And here's the thing, you don't even need to silence them with words. Your results will silence them for you. Cutting out the noise isn't about hating people or isolating yourself completely. It's about guarding your energy like it's gold. Because it is. Every word you hear, every opinion you entertain, either feeds your growth or poisons it. If someone constantly brings doubt, negativity, or distraction into your life, you have a choice. Keep them close and suffer, or distance yourself and protect your vision. It might hurt to walk away from certain people. It might feel uncomfortable to say no. But nothing is more painful than looking back years from now and realizing you lost your future because you were too busy listening to the wrong voices. Protect your focus at all costs, because focus is the currency of achievement. Lose it, and you lose everything. The world will always be noisy. Social media, gossip, opinions, distractions. They're not going away. But you can choose how much access they have to your mind. You can choose to filter what you allow in. You can choose to build an environment where silence is louder than chaos, where clarity is stronger than confusion. That means curating your circle, being intentional about what you consume, and building daily rituals that keep you centered. Read books that elevate you, not headlines that drain you. Spend time with people who challenge you to grow, not those who keep you comfortable. Pour energy into actions that move you forward, not into arguments that hold you back. The less noise you entertain, the more power you give to your own voice. When you cut out the noise, you finally hear the truth. You hear your inner voice, the one that knows exactly what you're capable of, the one that pushes you toward your highest potential. That voice gets buried under doubts, comparisons, and opinions, but it never disappears. And when you strip away the noise, it gets louder, stronger, clearer. That's when you become unstoppable, when you trust yourself more than the world, when you choose your vision over their validation, when you prioritize your mission over their opinions. Cutting out the noise isn't just about removing distractions. It's about amplifying your power. And once you master that, no one can control your destiny but you. Results are the purest form of truth. They cannot be faked, they cannot be argued with, and they cannot be covered up with excuses. At the end of the day, you can talk about how hard you worked. You can explain the obstacles you faced. You can share the reasons why things didn't go your way. But none of that changes the outcome. The world doesn't measure your intentions. It measures your results. You either have them or you don't. That's the reality that separates those who succeed from those who only talk about success. Excuses may sound convincing in the moment, but they vanish the second results enter the room. Because results speak louder than explanations, louder than stories, louder than complaints. They are undeniable. Every person is judged, whether fairly or not, by what they produce. Results are your proof. They're the evidence that you kept your promises, that you honored your commitments, that you did what you said you would do. Without results, you're just another voice blending into the crowd. With them, you stand out. You don't need to justify yourself. You don't need to defend your actions. Your results do it for you. And that's why people respect results more than effort. Effort matters, yes. But if effort isn't producing results, it's just motion without direction. The question isn't whether you worked hard. The question is whether your hard work created something tangible, something real, something that moved you forward. Because in life, effort earns sympathy, but results earn respect. Results are also the ultimate mirror. They don't lie about who you are, how disciplined you've been, or how much you've truly invested in your growth. If you want to know the truth about yourself, look at your results. Look at your health, your relationships, your finances, your career. They are all reflections of your choices, your habits, your consistency. If you don't like what you see, it's not because the world is unfair. It's because your results are showing you the reality of your actions. That's not meant to discourage you. It's meant to empower you. Because if your current results are built on your past actions, then your future results will be built on the actions you take from this moment forward. The mirror is honest, but it's also generous. It will reflect whatever you put into it. One of the most dangerous traps people fall into is comparing results without considering the work behind them. They look at someone else's success and say, they're just lucky, or they had advantages I didn't. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. But even if someone had a head start, that doesn't change the fact that their results came from action. Luck may open the door, but results come from consistency. And consistency is available to everyone. If you don't like your current results, stop comparing and start creating. Stop focusing on what someone else has and focus on what you can do with what you have. Because blaming others won't improve your results. It will only distract you from the work you need to do. Results also carry power. They open doors that excuses never will. A track record of results earns trust, creates opportunities, and commands influence. When people see that you deliver, they want to work with you, invest in you, follow you. Results give you credibility in a way words never can. Think about it. Would you hire a coach who talks about discipline but has no proof of success? Would you trust a leader who makes promises but has no history of delivering? No. You trust the one who has results. That's why results matter in every area of life. They are your reputation, your legacy, your calling card. They outlive the noise, the doubt, the criticism. Because when all is said and done, the scoreboard doesn't care about opinions. It only shows the truth. The beauty of results is that they are entirely within your control. You may not control the timing. You may not control every obstacle, but you control the actions you take, the habits you build, and the persistence you bring to the table. And when you stay committed long enough, results will come. They may not come overnight, they may not come as quickly as you want, but if you keep showing up, they are inevitable. That's the law of cause and effect. Consistent action creates consistent results. So stop defending your excuses and start building your proof. Because the world doesn't honor potential, it honors performance. It doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution. And it doesn't remember what you almost did. It remembers what you actually achieved. Results don't lie, and that's why they are the only language success understands. So here it is. Everything comes down to a single choice. You can spend the rest of your life defending excuses, protecting your comfort, telling stories about why it didn't work out. Or you can rise, take ownership, and live a life that speaks for itself through results. The world doesn't need another explanation. It needs your proof. Your success won't come from what you say you'll do. It will come from what you actually do. No excuses, just results. That's the standard. That's the difference. And that's the only way forward.